Hi folks, today I wanna talk about the huge iRacing problem in those big events like multi-class 24 hours races, when you build a team, prepare and train to achieve a result, but then... And here is what we face straight away. For the context, me with the guys decided to jump into 24 hours race endurance tour this season, starting from Imola. Previously we raced in a 24 special at Spa and managed to get on the podium. Why not the win? Well, that's another story, thanks to some BMW drivers. That was the fight for P1 and this guy just decided to took us out. And yes, don't try to do this or you will be disqualified. We all know how bad iRacing penalty system is by punishing all the drivers who are involved in the crash, with inks no matter whose fault it was. It's bad, obviously bad, but it's the lesser of two evils. An automatic decision system instead will not guarantee the correct judgment. Well, maybe someday we will see a proper AI trained model to solve those things. The other option is live stewarding, which will require high resources, but who will pay for it? Of course we, the players, as a final consumer of the product, as our regular subscription fee definitely won't be enough to cover the state of live stewards for all big events and splits. So don't blame the existing system too hard, it's the best we can get for free, but is it enough? And how to ensure that the faster car from behind knows what he's exactly doing? Actually, there are a couple of issues. Of course, no one is guaranteed to avoid those kind of things, but for the single class race you have more chances to survive than in a multi-class, when you can have a dramatic speed difference between cars, just like GT3 and GTP for example. But what if this GTP driver weren't there? So the real problem is the matchmaking and the entry system for the race. Racing is an attempt to keep under control what you can't. You can control your car, behavior of your car on track is your responsibility. You dictated where it should go and it's your responsibility if you lose control. Because you and your skill were the reason for that. It was you who were too eager to push that hard, or you weren't prepared enough and you didn't realize you were crossing a line. So you became a passenger of the situation. Well, let's pause and roll back. This time you did it right. Well prepared and confident, but there is a guy behind you whom you cannot control. All you can do is to expect that he controls his car, expect that he knows what he's doing, expect that he makes the right decisions, otherwise what else is he doing in 24 hours race? Imagine you and your team are strong regular midfield drivers, 2k of iRacing. You are not a super athletes, but you can keep a decent and stable pace. So often your class is also around 2.5k, which foreshadows a decent and tight fight. And then you notice a GTP as twice as fast as you with 1k iRacing driver in it. And that is the moment your sphincter becomes as solid as a rock, but unfortunately it won't make your boot stronger. And this is how the race basically ended for us, with 8 minutes of repairs after 14 hours of the race. Yes, we still continued, but now it was just for fun, no expectations or competition. Everyone makes mistakes, sure, but what if it's a pattern and somebody just has to admit that they don't know how to drive? This car from the clip has finished the 24 hours race having 380 ink points, 16 ink points or potentially 4 GT3 cars victims each hour of the race. Will iRacing somehow handle this dramatic amount of inks? Of course not. There is no threshold on which team will be disqualified from the endurance race, so the rest of the grid can finally take a deep breath, while we do have it in hourly races. That means this one butcher will continue his duty, shaking the entire grid. But no, he wasn't the only one. We were happy to have other 1k drivers using GTPs and LMPs on the grid as well, like this one. You could say that they could be twins? But no, not in this case, and they were dramatically slower than their teammates, losing on average 4 seconds of the lap time, and producing a crazy amount of inks for their team. The entire GTP soft was around 1.5k of iRacing. Here is the pure example of their mastery. I am not an iRacing adept, but there is a cross point where a driver's iRacing dictates his ability to stay on the track and out of trouble. Just look at the amount of inks they produced, especially in a faster car class when you need to focus not only on how you control your car, but also on acting properly with the rest of the grid. And 1K driver is definitely far from it. But in the addition they take the fastest and most dangerous class on the grid. Do they want to compensate and overtake at least someone? Could be. But that's not their fault, that's the game that allows it. The best simulator in the world allows for rookies, not in terms of play time, but in terms of stability and car handling, to take the fastest car class on the grid and make the massacre in 24 hours races. Would it be an early race from IMSA series? No worries, someone took you out, okay, happens, will try my best next time. But for the rare and special 24 hours is just unacceptable. They definitely need to strict allowance for those events. Yeah, they do require a B license, which is so silly. For regular hourly IMSA races, when you can have a bunch of them per day, you need to have an A license. But for a 24 hours race, B is enough. Just go and devastate the grid. Sounds fair, right? The matchmaking was like, wait, what? Your GT3 soft is 2.5k? Sounds too boring, here you go guys. 1k GTP drivers, enjoy and good luck to survive. Well, thank you iRacing for wasting my weekends. As it's not as short as evening race, you have to plan your IRL time to spend weekends on this game, sacrifice something, time with the friends, family and other things. But then an incompetent driver just took you out. Just look at this car that crashes all the time. Anyway, I will come back next time and try again. It seems that's what they are counting on. In a proper hosted league races, not even 24 hours enduros, they restrict access to the fast car classes by iRacing for multi-class events. And there is a reason for it. Faster class driver is responsible for overtaking slower car classes on the track. It's their duty to understand it and perform an overtake safely. Do the 1K driver is aware about it in open official 24-hour races? I doubt. There is no training, no guidance from iRacing on how it should be handled. Well, yes, we all know that it's a true race simulator, so each driver by default should acknowledge how to act on the track since they press the buy subscription button. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't work like this. Ideally, iRacing should have some extra sorting and requirements for such an event, determining a minimum iRating for a specific class or introducing some special safety rating for 24 hours races, and a guideline on how to act on the track. And fix the damn matchmaking by not putting 1k GTP drivers together with 2.5k soft OGT3s when building up the field. If you are a low skill driver and struggling with consistency, please think twice before taking the faster class, because your mistake costs a lot for others, wasting 3-5 people weekends in the trash. And don't treat a slower class on the grid like they are bugs and you shouldn't count with them. Just because your car is faster doesn't mean you are better. And yes, those guys in GTP, for example, finished last in their class among the cars that actually finished. So be extra careful when you see a faster class car that is being lapped by you in the mirrors. It's the most dangerous car on the track, they have no skill and they have nothing to lose. iRacing post-race reporting system doesn't care about anything that happens in the race until it's an intentional collision. So no one will be punished if they take you out just because they don't know what they're doing. What we have by the end? A penalty system that can't handle it properly, matchmaking that can't do its job right, and people. Well, people will always be people, it's the system that should store those things. So next time joining 24 hours multi-class race, think twice, you want to eat or to be eaten, when choosing the car class for the race. That was the reason we switched to the LMP and luckily had our first 24 hours of Le Mans victory, as the speed between GTP and LMP is less dramatic, so it is easier for you to handle a GTP in a Mad Max mode behind you. Might be the speech was a bit toxic, but I got burned with this situation. I hope you have better luck in your 24 hours races. Drop a comment what do you think about this situation. Thank you for watching, stay safe on the track and happy racing. Bye bye.